Should we talk about some football?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about this Coastal BYU thing because I think it's one of the greatest things that I've seen in a schedule move in college. We're going to talk about Rob's weekend a little bit, and we're going to use Rob as some examples within the strategy, both working and not working, and then. I'm going to talk about in-game spreads, and specifically with these in-game spreads, when do you pump the brakes on them? And then I'm going to talk about the mid-game hook on some of the in-game spreads because I think we've all gotten burned by the hook, and I've figured out where it's happening, and I'm not going to tell you that that I know when to hit it and when not to because it'll pay just as much as it burns you, but it's really annoying when it burns you. So let's talk Coastal first because I'm excited about this one. Are you good with starting there, Rob?
Yeah, anything you want, man.
So, it's no secret. We've been riding Coastal all year, and they've covered every single spread. They've covered in-game spreads. Last week, one of the things we were talking about is how we got lucky on the prior week with a pick six that covered the spread. And, I believe that you get lucky, of course. But every single time something like that happens, I justify it to myself because we've been on the other side of that where some team takes a knee when they shouldn't have, and if you do your homework and you're in it enough, you earn those lucky breaks, just like what we were talking about earlier in the market. You earn these lucky breaks just by doing your homework. So what was really cool, and I've never seen this happen in college, but this year's been a weird year, and I'm sure you guys know already, but uh, teams are canceling games left and right, and it's due to COVID, it's due to travel, it's due to all kinds of things. But the talk all year, as they're talking about the top ranked teams in college, BYU is on the outside looking in, and they really got disrespected with these first couple rankings. I think BYU right now is ranked number 13, and they they tried to schedule. They had a tougher schedule, but those tougher games got canceled, and they haven't really played a ton of games this year. And they if they're going to make a run at a New Year's Six bowl or even at the playoff, which it would take a lot of help. But if they were going to make a run, they needed to get some of these bigger games that got canceled on them, and they've just really been in an unlucky place. The BYU has, they played a bunch of games. They're 9-0, but some of the better ones got canceled. So what do? Coastal's going against Liberty, which I was going to completely lay off of it because Liberty has a defense that Coastal has not faced this year. But Liberty ends up canceling something COVID related, of course. It's 2020, why not? And somebody from Brigham Young University calls the University of Coastal Carolina and says, no, 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 no. We'll come play you. So now, out of left field, we get a ranked on ranked matchup. We get number 18 against number 13, and both teams have a chance to prove something. And Cincinnati sits at 8 or 9, depending on where you look at it. But I think that the winner of this could very well jump Cincinnati, and it's just great. BYU saw an opportunity for competition, and Coastal accepted it. And this is probably the most meaningful, even though it's 18 against 13, this is probably the most meaningful group of 5 game that we've seen this year. Whoever wins this game is going to find their way into the Rose Bowl. Well, it won't be Rose or Sugar because those are playoff games, but they'll find their way into one of the important bowl games, probably play A&M or Georgia or Indiana, but it's really cool to see. And at this point, I sound like a fan, but this is the team that we picked out of nowhere, and they've covered every spread for us, and now we get to watch them in a big game. So and the spread now, Coastal's getting 11 in the game. I'm not an investor pregame on this one. The only piece that I really like to this game is Coastal first half over 12.5. And the reason I like that 12.5 because it could be a touchdown and 2 field goals. It could be 2 touchdowns. Coastal scores fast. BYU's got a great run defense, but their pass defense not so much. And what's cool about this game is we got a quarterback from BYU that's 25 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and Grayson McCall, G Money McCall, is 20 touchdowns and 1 pick. And both of these teams know how to score. So my play on that one is to leave the investment alone pregame. I think that in a matter of 4 minutes, we're going to know what's going to go on in the game and which side to be on. And the only thing I'm confident in is that Coastal over 12.5 for the first half. But I just think it's just great. We get a really good game now. And Coastal at the beginning of the game, they're getting, I think, 10.5, 11. I mean, that's worth a look. I'm not willing to do it because the comp opponents that they've both played, Coastal really hasn't played anybody. BYU, they played Boise. I mean, they've played a handful of better teams when you line up the two schedules. So somebody's not muted, but either way, that's a good one. And my play there is Coastal first half over 12 and a half points.
Pudding.
Oh, you did not give me any pudding, sir. Was it chocolate or vanilla? Okay. Well, I mean, if he's offering everybody pudding. So, I mean, that's really the only piece I have to that game. I'm trying, I don't want to get carried away with it because Coastal has covered every spread. And that would tell us that they probably will cover this one. 11's a lot. 11's a lot for a team, even BYU, to cover. Rob, you good before we move?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right, let's talk about Rob's weekend. And let's talk about Rob's weekend. So Rob went into it. He set himself up with Bovada, tipped the bartender. Thank you for that. And he did everything right. Rob followed all the picks. And I think, Rob, your number was $35 a game, right?
That's what I started at, I think.
Yeah. So he was playing $35 a game, which is exactly what we talk about. We talk about you follow the strategy, you bet the same money in every game. And he was a winner. He won. I think, Rob, you lost like 2 games. And then there was some in-game bets that we were talking about. And then Rob gets to Sunday night. And so a winner. Sunday night's a walk away for me, unless...
Hold on 1 second. Hey, Chris, will you mute him? I don't know how to do it, man. All right,
he's muted now. So Rob's doing nothing but winning, in-game bets and everything else. And then we get to Sunday night. Rob, I'm not picking on you, but this is a good example. Then on Sunday night, he placed some bets. One of them was $75, one was $80, one was $200, and one was $126. Well, if you do that math, he ended up betting. I'm not in the mood to math, but the $200 game was about 6 bets. The 126 was almost 4 bets. So Rob ended up on one game placing 14 to 16 games worth of action, and it doesn't matter that he got lucky.
Wait, I was waiting for that part.
Well, he won them, but you didn't win them all. You covered yourself with the garbage points. But the lesson there is you took a winning week, and you were willing to risk it all on a 3-hour game. In fact, if the math goes correctly, if you're going 16 games on one game, you had the potential to give it all back and turn yourself into a loser. And then you won 1 or 2 of those and lost 1 or 2 of those, and it kind of had you losing money. And then you go into Monday night and place a $150 bet and lose it. And I remember it because you were on me about, well, you told me if I was going to, well, I also told you it's Monday night, and Monday night is a dirty bitch. And that's just what it is. But good luck trying to keep Rob away from a dirty bitch.
So let me clarify. On Sunday night, it was the Bears, and I shouldn't have bet the Bears because I like the Bears, and I doubled down on it. I doubled down again, and I bet more money, which I shouldn't have done. I'll give you that. Money management was terrible, but it ended up working out on Sunday night. But I will tell you, Monday night was terrible, the 6.5 points, and then it was fine until they decided to do the Hail Mary at the end of the game, and then I was still winning if they kicked a field goal, but or extra point, but they decided to do go for 2, and they got it, and that's what screwed me for the week.
Well, and you got a good point, but weird things that screw you kind of happen on Monday night and Sunday night always. So, and I look at it as time. So I legitimately spend 12 hours on Saturday and probably another 10 on Sunday. I'll wake up real early on Sunday, just the same deal as everybody on this recording that does trading. You wake up really early, you look at the futures, you have a cup of coffee, you see what Kramer's got to say, you listen to what Rob has to say, and you go about it. But I do the same thing on Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday combined, I mean, I'm in the neighborhood of 20 plus hours. And not to mention each one of these picks, some of these picks, I'm spending 4 hours just trying to poke holes through my own opinion. So the to me, it's just not worth letting 3 hours wipe all that away. And so the move, the strategy, the money management strategy of it is Rob was up $752 leaving Sunday. What Rob should have done is take 25%, which ends up being $188, use that as the next week's press. So where you go with that is out of the 188, he now becomes, instead of a $35 a week investor, he's now betting $45 on each game, leaving the remaining I think it's $94 in the account. So his account grows and he's now able to press his live action. And then his withdrawal Monday morning should have been $564. That's the right move. Now, if you want to go waste money on a Monday night game, do it, but bet $45 or bet $35. I wouldn't advise doing it, but you guys all have your money and manage it a very specific way. I know Rob's deposit was $300. He deposited $300, ran it up to $752, and would have walked away with a $564 cash out and then a press to the following week's action. So he's if he repeats the same, his following week probably would have been pushing $1,000 if he would have had the same type of record, which we know he would have, because you find live games and we're laying out good picks. So that's the move, is you take 25% and press the following week, and you take your 75% out, and you just pay yourself. There's absolutely no value in taking all of these games that have been won and throwing $150 on one game when you're a $35 a game investor throughout the weekend, and that has won for you. So you just got to trust the record. What had Rob on Monday night is he was pissed off about what took place Sunday. He had four wagers going. He won one of the good ones, and he lost one of the good ones, and it just kind of left him in an odd place. And the whole stress and the psychology of the whole thing, he had to get back in it on Monday night. And I'm not even joking about this. On Tuesday morning, Rob is texting me, what's next, because he lost on Monday night. And the psychology of the whole thing is way more valuable than any pick. You stay disciplined and you pay yourself. If he would have paid himself $564 in Bitcoin through doing what everybody on this site does in tracking Bitcoin, there's these guys that track Bitcoin and all of the cryptos and when to leave it and when not. These guys have given me really good advice on leave it for a couple days, or get in, get out, or wait to take your withdrawal. And in some cases, you withdraw via Bitcoin from one of these sports wagering sites, and now you get a 10% growth or a 20% growth. Or a couple weeks ago, in the past 2 weeks, Bitcoin has been crazy. So just on taking the cash out, I'm growing 20%. So Rob's 564 on good Bitcoin advice could have very easily been 620, 630, and you just can't draw it up any better than that. Rob had a perfect weekend, and then testosterone kicked in, and he forgot the strategy that got him there. He thought he was invincible. He decided to split kings at the blackjack table because he didn't need that winner. Let me try and get two winners. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. So
And it would have happened except for that stupid extra point. I don't understand that still. I'm still mad about it, but I'm in the game tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's going good. It's going good right now, and the over's looking really good too. So, I mean, that's my strategy soapbox for the week. It's bet the same amount. Don't turn a winner into two losers. You can turn one winner into two winners. If you're betting $10, don't bet 20, don't bet 100. Don't take your Saturday and throw it away on one game, because that the saying, the house always wins, and that's a real thing. This strategy of even money and great picks, it's winning. And I somebody double check it for me, but I was looking at our NFL picks this year, and the math I'm coming up with is 41 41, 18, and 1, which would have us number 2 at the Westgate Super Competition. Last year's winner won $1.3 million. Rob, are we stupid for not remembering to sign up?
Yeah, next year it's not gonna happen. We're gonna sign up for sure. All spot
Yeah,
app, whatever you wanna do.
yeah,
And you're right though, as far as me increasing the bets. And I talked to somebody else about it today. They're like, you worked hard all weekend, you got this money, from the weekend bets, and then all of a sudden you threw it on this game and it didn't work out so well. So I mean, I still did all right for the week, but not as good as I could have. So money management was definitely the key. So I get it.
yeah. And well, and so and here's the other thing with these in-game spreads. I'm just going to jump right into that next thing. That Green Bay Bears game, that was an example. And I was watching the lines. Green Bay over 27 and a half. Then they scored. Then Green Bay over 30. Then Green Bay. At some point mid third quarter, you have to pump the brakes. And the right move is to pump the brakes and get out, because they've covered as much as they're going to cover, and you're now 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, and you think, oh my God, they got the whole fourth quarter. The fourth quarter doesn't work that way in a blowout. The Green Bay is not coming out and scoring twice more in the fourth quarter, even if, especially if the Bears score again. Now Green Bay's just trying to kill the clock, and they'll only score accidentally. And so there's certain games. Florida has been a good example of these games. Coastal has been a good example too. And Bama, oh my God, Bama is just like a cash register if you're betting them and the points, and how much they're going to score. But you start off and the team over is 26 and a half. That's juicy. That's 4 touchdowns. They score one. Well, now it moves up to 28. Take them again. They score again. They score twice. Before you know it, they're at 21, and you're looking at a team over of 37, and you're like, oh my God, they did that in the first quarter. Well, you've won 3, so why not take it again? But at some point, like mid third quarter, just stop. Just stop. You've won 6 times on this same exact wager, just by jumping on it, reading the game, seeing how it's happening. You just got to walk away at a certain point, because if you keep going on it, you're going to find yourself at the other end with 2 losers. And I'd rather be 6-0 than 6-2 or 4-2. And that's just the safe way to go. I'm going to talk about this in-game hook, because this in-game hook, this is what I found. So, you got a team in the first half. The team over is 13 and a half. Well, that's 2 touchdowns. Let's say they score. They got 7 points on the board. The other team score is totally irrelevant. What's going to happen now is that spread's going to move, and it's going to move to 2 more scores, depending on how the bookmaker reads it. But it's not going to move to 1 more score. If it moves to 1 more score, take it. So this 13 and a half on the first touchdown, it's going to more than likely 14 and a half. So at that point, you need touchdown field goal. That's the safest place you could be if you believe that this team is going to keep going on that first half. But what probably will happen if it's a team that scores points, if it's Bama, if it's Florida, if it's God, who else is a team that scores? A&M can score like crazy if they want to. If it's Clemson, this spread is going to now go to 17 and a half. So you're asking for 2 more touchdowns, not just 2 more scores. If it goes to 17 and a half, they're now defining how they need those points to happen. If it goes to 16 and a half, that's not a bad place to be. 16 and a half means touchdown field goal, especially if the team scores early, like in under 5 minutes. If it goes to 14 and a half, that one is probably because the first score happened on a fluke. And at that point, you're looking for touchdown, field goal. So you're looking for another touchdown and a field goal. But usually that hook moves in 2-score increments. If you see the hook move in a way that 1 more score wins, so if you see that the hook moves to where 1 more field goal covers, or touchdown field goal covers, if it moves to 16 and a half, 16 and a half is great, because that's touchdown field goal. 17 and a half, that's 3 scores. That's 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, or however you break that math down. But when that hook or that in-game spread moves to where it's only 1 score or 2 scores rather than that third score, It'll move to that second score if it's later on in the half or later on in the game. If it moves to that third score, I'd be careful there if it's early, and I'd be careful if it's moves to two scores and it's later on in the half or later on in the quarter, whatever the time frame is for that game. But we've all been burned by the hook, and that's how I'm saying is probably a safer way to play it. You can't buy the hook on an in game. You just can't. I wish I could, but uh, that's where I'm saying you stay on the right side of the hook. If it's late in the quarter or late in the half or late in that betting period, don't buy the two scores. If it's early in the half or early in the quarter or early in that betting time period, do not go with the three scores. Go with the two scores. If for some reason it's three scores, well, that's not the investment for you to be in. Take the one you won and walk away from it, or ride out your pregame investment. You got to be confident in these picks, especially NFL when we're going 60, 68, 69%. College is a little bit more unpredictable when it comes to scoring. They tend to want to score. They need to score. They need to look good. In the NFL, there is absolutely no reason for any of these teams to score. They can win by one, and the math of the standings is going to put them in the playoffs or put them in a certain seed. In college football, they need to score. They need to light the sky. They need to look good doing it. They need to do backflips in the end zone, and they need to impress whoever it is that's voting. So college, I would feel a little bit safer on that third score, but it also depends on the team, and it depends on the team that they're playing, and it also depends on the coach. There's college coaches that they have no motivation to score. I will never invest money in some of the coaches in college because they truly don't care about scoring. TCU just never touch them. That coach doesn't care. He's not interested in your money. You want to bet money on a coach that will try and score for you, bet on UCLA. Chip Kelly wants to score. He wants to score in 14 seconds, and he doesn't care how big of the lead is. That's a guy you trust with the team overs and things like that. So,
Yeah. Hey, so I got a couple questions here. Thoughts on Colts and Titans spread?
yeah, I love the Colts.
All
It's
right.
not, and it's not Colts and Titans. It's the Browns. It's 6.5. It's some places 7. It's Tennessee against Cleveland, and I love the Browns in that game. The reason I do, I think it's a low-scoring game. Neither team has a really high-powered pass attack, and when you look at these two teams, it's a number 1 rush offense against a number 2 rush offense. Cleveland 1, Tennessee 2. But then when you look at the defense, Tennessee is only number 17 in rush yards allowed per game, and when you look at Cleveland, they're actually pretty strong against the rush. They're number 9, but Cleveland is. I think it's going to be a close game. I think these teams are going to play a chess match of field position, and I don't think that Cleveland wins, but I think that they keep it within the 6.5 or 7. This is just going to be a rushing game. And when it comes down to the passing attack, I don't think either team has a good passing attack, but Cleveland has better wide receivers. And Tennessee, I've watched film, and Tennessee is very vulnerable over the middle, like in that line in between the linebacker and the free safety, strong safety kind of area. And Baker Mayfield's not the best quarterback, but he's got receivers that can get there and get open. And Tennessee just doesn't have the same receivers to be able to put up points if they get behind. I think that Cleveland has the better pass attack matchup with Tennessee's passing defense. I'm on the Cleveland side of that, and that's one of the picks that I'm going to post here shortly. I like Cleveland in that game, and oddly enough, Rob, you were wondering why you didn't get cashed out for Cleveland last week. Is because
I bet the wrong week. I know.
You bet the wrong week. Well, yeah, but either way, I think you're on the right side of that one. I think you're on the right side of that one.
Yeah. So the question was thoughts on Colts and Titans spread. So I don't know. Is that the two games?
Okay. So, well, the Colts don't play the Titans.
No, it said Colts and Titans spread. So is that 2 different games then?
Yeah, the Colts just played the Titans and got smoked. So I mean, I just told you how I feel about the Titans. The Colts are playing Houston, and that became a walk away for me. And it became a walk away because Houston showed signs of offense. And the Colts have a fantastic defense. They just got beat. The Colts should win and cover, but the hook made me walk away from it because I don't know how to trust the Colts in this spot coming off a loss like that. And the last time the Colts came off a loss was against Baltimore, and they came back and won, and they won big. but they also won against a Tennessee team that wasn't quite ready for it. The prior time that they were coming off a loss, uh, and it was a significant loss, they came back and they barely beat a Cincinnati team that wasn't very good. So I what I really don't trust is Tennessee. Tennessee is on a two-game. I'm sorry, Houston. Houston's on a two-game win streak. Deshaun Watson is looking good, and uh, the Colts haven't really played against quarterbacks that can do what this guy is doing when when he gets going. They've beat some good quarterbacks, but if you really go back and uh, look at the Texans, well, never mind. I'm gonna delete that thought. But I didn't trust this game. It was the hook that made me walk away, and there's too much I don't trust. This is not one of my picks this week. Um, the smart move would probably be the Colts just because they're the better team by far. But I think that if Houston scores early, which they're capable of it, I mean they have one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in football. If they score early, uh, I just don't trust Phil Rivers to do the right thing and not give the ball away. So I, again, I've just argued on both sides of it. It's a walk away.
Okay. The other thing that I wanna talk about, because I mean, we've only had a few people in here most of the time, we're just recording it, so, but we have about, I don't know, 15 or so people in here today, and they were asking about in-game bets and stuff like that. I did wanna go and that that's up to you if you wanna push that stuff out, to the premium members and stuff like that, but I just wanna kinda go over what we're doing now. So, basically, on the free side, there's gonna be a couple picks that'll be put out there, and then all the picks will be on the premium side. And to get into the premium side, all you need to do is send you Magic a message, and then just I guess basically feed him into whether it's Bovada. There's a couple other websites, and just use him as a reference. So there's really no payment to you guys to get in on the picks and to have the whole list and get added to the premium. So if you want to do that, go ahead and just message him, and he'll let you know how to get in there.
Yeah, and we did it. Thank you for saying that, Robin. We did it that way because I didn't want anybody to have to come up with cash out of their pocket. So the reality is, you just simply make a deposit into one of these accounts that I send you a referral code to, and the money's there. The money's there for you to play with. It costs you nothing, and I get. Well, we get we get a piece of that, and it's a free thing. All you got to do is switch your action for 1 week. We all get paid. If you're on one, if you're already on Bovada and you feel like switching to the other, you'll get a bonus for that too. It's kind of like credit card jumping. You take the 50,000 miles, you do the minimum, and then you cut the card in half and you switch to the other credit card. So there is value to everybody on this call. If you wanted to switch sites, you tip the bartender again. You get a bonus for just simply joining as a new member, and everybody wins. And the in-game plays that, Rob, I'm just going to talk about that real quick. I try not to put all these in-game plays out there. I'm not holding out on you guys, believe me, I'm not. Any one of you can send me a direct message. I'm glued to my phone, and I have 3 screens going in my house on Saturday and Sunday. Any one of you could send me a message and ask me what I think of an in-game bet, and I'll give you my opinion 100%. I'll tell you, stay with it, lay off, looks good. I mean, I'll tell you what I think. I'm happy to do that. I want to do that. And especially there's some money management things that come up too. Like you have a monster Saturday, you have a 5-0 Saturday. Well, what do I do with this? And that's probably more important than the actual picks. What do I do? I just went 5-0. Do I press Sunday? Do I press it lightly? Do I cash out now? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can play that, and the goal here is that you get paid off of these winning picks. The goal here is money. I don't do this for fun. This is how I pay my bills during football season. So I'm always gonna give you advice in the direction of actually paying yourself and making money. Rob would have been probably $600 richer if he didn't have an ego and get fired up this past week. But any one of you can send me. I'll send in-game picks every now and then. A couple weeks ago when Coastal was down, I said Coastal now. And those of you that jumped on it, you saw what happened, and we got paid again on that game. It's a credibility thing. If I start sending you guys, 10, 20 different in-game picks on a Saturday or a Sunday, and we lose them, it dilutes the record. I have an ego too. But the reality is, I want everybody to trust the baseline picks and find some good action. And within these live games, I'll send you the ones that I think are cannot miss. Like, you got to jump on this now, just like Rob does, and a lot of you in this group. When you find something juicy in the market, get on this now, get out now, and I'll try and send some of that advice too. But message me anytime you want.
Can it just be baseball season already?
Right? You're the baseball master. Once football's over, and Rob talked about premium and membership. Once the NFL's over, believe it or not, I'm actually better with the CFL than I am with college football. And the CFL usually starts around May, and those games are wildly entertaining to watch. And they're at odd times, and the CFL was a great run for me a couple of years ago. Muhammad's on this call, and we were at work, and he was watching me bet and watch the CFL game, and he's like, "What are you doing? It's Canadian football." But that rolls around. But Jesse, I know once we get into no football, basketball, and baseball, that's all you.
Oh, I don't mean that since I mean I'm getting my ass handed to me in college football. Davidson last night, blowing them out all game. I'm like, here we go, baby, cashing in. And they just blow it the last like 3 minutes.
Hoops is a scary one. When it comes to hoops, I do a bracket in March, and that's all I know.
Well, good news is that there may be someone else joining soon to put some basketball picks in here. I just have to vet all the picks, and basically what I'm doing, I'm just auditing what he's doing just to make sure we have winning percentages, and I'm not putting out garbage.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think I know that he does really well on this. But like I said, I'll go through it, and then hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll be able to put some basketball picks on here too.
Yeah, and I just want to add the newer guys to this, because I see a lot of names, and man, thank you everybody for the support. I mean, this is really cool. I think this is our best turnout on one of these calls. Go back to week one. Go into the videos. Go back to week one and listen to that. Listen to week two, because week 1, 2, and 3, I laid out a pretty detailed strategy, and it's important to go there. If you're a member of this page just because you want my picks, that's fine too. But I am not the best picker, and I address that in week 1. Go back to week 1. Listen to how you lay out these wagers. I address some do's and don'ts. I talked about a book that I'm working on, and some of the 10 Commandments and 7 deadly sins, and go back to that. And is there any of the new guys to this call that have a question? Anybody else have questions?
The other question was, what's the other site besides Bovada?
Bet online. Bet
Okay.
online. And
Yeah, so
Bet online.
just message him, and he'll give you the referral stuff. So.
Yes, send me a message. I'll give you the referral. If you're a member of one and you want to get the bonus for joining the other one, I'll send you the message. There's not a if anybody knows of a good one out there, I'm happy to try that one too. I've been with Bovada for so many years to give up those points, so I created a couple others just to be accessible for everybody, and that way we can get bonused.
All right. So because we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon. Any picks that you want to put out for next or this weekend?
Well, I'm about to put them out. I'm going to post them in the picks. I already said I like Coastal Carolina in college over 12.5 for the first half. I really like that one. And earlier I said I like Cleveland in the 6.5 or 7 in the NFL. And there's a couple of them I'm still breaking down in the NFL, but I really like Detroit. And if you go back to week 4, I talked a lot about when a team loses their coach. And so far this year, we're 2-0 on a team losing their coach. Detroit was happy to lose that coach. Detroit has an offensive identity. They're going against the Bears, who are totally broken. There's rumors everywhere. Now they're starting the quarterback that they once benched. I am a Bears fan. I bleed Chicago Bears, but I firmly believe that a team that loses their coach, and they're glad to lose him, +3 Detroit in a division game, I think Detroit wins the game outright, is what I believe. Take the 3 points. So there you go.
All right. Sounds good. And I don't have any other questions, so we'll just end it like that unless you have anything else.
I don't. Everybody have a good week, and let's cash some tickets.